If you have been laid off, feeling stuck in your career, or simply trying to figure out what's right for you next, maybe you thought about quitting your job. Maybe you thought about working remotely, traveling, but how do you actually do that? What does it take to start over? Today, I'll be talking to Sam. This conversation isn't about escaping reality, it's about reshaping it. So, Sam, tell us a little more about yourself.
All right, so hi everyone, I'm Sam. I was the founding engineering director of Viki, which was acquired by Rakuten for 200 million. And today, I'm a co-founder and CEO of Cerex. And I'm going through what people call the CTO to CEO transition.
Oh, did you just mention Viki?
Yes.
I know Viki at that time was a very popular streaming app. Where did you go after you left Viki?
I left Viki in about 2015, right? And then I went to Ricoh to pick up some enterprise computing experience.
So you mentioned also the Viki acquisition, right? It was a 200 million acquisition. Did it happen actually when you were in Viki or after you left?
It happened after I left. In fact, it happened right when I was in Ricoh.
How do you feel about that?
Surprising, I think the team did a good job after I left, and then the founder, the CEO, did a fantastic job of getting the 200 million acquisition, right? I think when we first joined the company, he was telling us Viki is a $100 million company, but the acquisition is 200 million, so he over-delivered. I still remember I was at Ricoh when I received the news, and that got me to start thinking about, okay, I now have this windfall, right? And it is due to all the hard work that I put in prior, right? All the experience and everything, all the hard work that I prior. And also, I guess, I have to prepare myself for the next windfall, because hard work leads to windfall. I wanted to repeat, right? And I think the other thing that got me thinking about job security versus career stability.
It seems your mindset is quite different. You see what I mean? Because most of the time when people have this kind of success, or I would say surprise coming out of nowhere, they will be very overwhelmed and kind of carried away.
Yeah. So the way I look at it was, for most people, when you have a windfall, right, you may think that, okay, I'm doing very well, right, and I can continue this, the next windfall will just come along, right? I did not see it that way. The moment I saw the windfall, I said, okay, great, there were certain actions I took that lead to this. I have to keep up to it, right, plan the next step, right, so that the next windfall might happen, right? So it was almost immediately I got into a proactive mode. Right? I said, okay, windfalls are possible. How do I plan the next one? What are the actions that I need to take?
Yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. Is that why, kind of the trigger, you start thinking and planning maybe to quit your job in Ricoh?
Yes, that was sort of like the trigger, because I started looking at my career stability versus job security, and I kind of felt that at that point in that role, it was kind of stagnant. And in order to try the new technologies, the new tech stacks that I wanted to practice, I will need to run a new startup and build a new product.
Oh, okay. Well, that was quite a drastic change, So allow me to digest. That is, you mentioned, okay, the kind of acquisition happened. It was a surprise. It's also an enabler. You didn't get overwhelmed or carried away, and instead you turn this alert mode.
Yep.
You start thinking, oh, okay, well, I have this reward because I did what previously, was hard, and in order to sustain this reward, I need to think and plan out ahead.
Yep.
To put it down, you said, okay, job security versus career stability. What does stability mean to you?
Right. I guess for most people, what happens is that they talk about stability or security. They actually tend to think about job security, And to me, job security is whether you will be laid off tomorrow. That's really it. Or how soon will you be laid off before the layoff happens, right? That's job security. But in contrast, career stability is very, very different. To me, career stability is whether can you walk out of your current job and get another job tomorrow with the same or higher pay, right? Or can you walk out your job and have a different revenue stream or a side gig or a business or run a new startup that can maintain the same level of income, right? And that is career stability. Obviously, career stability requires a lot more planning, right? A lot more renewal in terms of skill set and mindset and all, right? Whereas job security is about holding on to that one job you have.
Oh, okay. It seems like even though you are, say, in a corporate job, which tends to be safe, but you're still constantly evaluating the market, the economic environment, and also whether you have outgrown that job. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yep. I am constantly alert as to, have I outgrown, the position. What else can I do? Has the landscape and the market moved forward?
Okay, but only flip side, I do sense one contradiction. That is, in order to prioritize my career stability, it seems I have to forgo my job security. Does it happen like that way?
Sometimes it happens that way, right? That because you're already in a comfort zone or you're already in a very stagnant position, the only way to reinvent yourself is to get out. That means you have to leave the job, right? So, which is a very counterintuitive thing if you only focus on job security. So, in my view, whenever you can, you should always prioritize career stability over job security.
And how do you actually do that? What was your own experience, say, quitting Ricoh?
Well, it took me like 5 months actually to think about what should I do next, before I left. I have a very good talk with my ex-boss at the point in time, so we planned out properly. And I also thought about what kind of products, will I be building. Therefore, I can try the new tech stack. And also, I knew that I will be a new startup. It'll be self-funded, and it'll be probably a one-man show.
Okay, so you were saying you actually thought a lot about quitting the job and what to do next. It took you overall 5 months,
About 5 months.
to make that decision.
Yes.
Okay, and how was the transition? Was it smooth? Did the planning help in any ways?
Yeah, it is generally smooth because I had time on my side. All right, I was nowhere near a recession or layoff situation, so I was able to what I call peace mode. Right, I could actually in peacetime plan out my transition. Right, so that is very different as opposed to anyone in a layoff recession situation. You're forced to act.
So that was the deliberate kind of decision you made.
Yep.
To prevent this layoff retrenchment that happened to you.
Yep.
You quit your job and start pick up new skills or
And
in your way.
reinvent,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That's pretty a different mindset. I would call it a prevention mindset. It reminds me one thing. One philosopher, French philosopher, said one thing that is by not making a choice. It's still a choice.
Yeah.
So, to understand from your experience, it seems, right, before I was affected by these layoffs, I must make the evaluation and the decision to leave a job or not, rather than let the situation happen by default and I accept whatever outcome it is.
Yes, and to do that, you have to do a self-evaluation, right? Are you stagnant in the job? Have you sort of like outlived the job, or are you in the comfort zone? That's also a red flag.
Okay, so after you left Ricoh, you mentioned something startup. Is that what you did later?
Yes, right after I left Ricoh, I founded my own startup at the point, right? And then what was interesting was right before I left Ricoh, I was given a offer for a fractional CTO contract, right? Or what we call a CTO as a service, right? So that kind of helped help the transition, to be honest.
Oh, okay. So you were saying after you quit your job with Rico, you were extended an offer from them asking you to basically a freelance CTO a service job.
Yeah, there were different contracts over time, but there was one that one wasn't from Rico, but that one came along as well before I left Rico. And then for the new startup, it was also a digital nomad format that I went with. Yeah.
Wait, hold on. You said you founded one startup, and then you mentioned something like digital nomad.
Yeah.
Okay, to me, startup, the impression I have is hard work, long hours, day and night in office, waiting to go IPO.
Okay.
But then you mentioned the digital nomad, which changed the scene completely. That is, cold by the beach. Party, traveling, stress-free. So how does these two come into one sentence? Can you break it down for us?
Okay, so most people would imagine that digital nomad life is very rosy, and full of activities, and it's like a vacation. The truth is, it is not, right? It requires discipline to plan ahead your trips. You are still working on the go while you travel, and the truth is, you happen to be traveling while working, right? So this is a lifestyle that requires planning and discipline.
I see what you mean. It seems like a lot of people, they do romanticize digital nomad life as if they do not need to work and they are just traveling somehow with some income coming from nowhere.
Yeah, you are usually traveling on a budget, right? So you have to ensure that your income exceeds your expenses. So this is not like a vacation where you are splurging and you plan only for 2 weeks. This is traveling months at a time, right? And you have to consistently plan your next trip, next accommodation, next visa considerations, and even connectivity and currency. What kind of currency you need to hold?
It seems to be more challenging from what I hear you. First of all, you still need to discipline yourself, which means you have to be constantly working and delivering. Meanwhile, you want to enjoy the fun of travel, so you really have to balance them out. On the other hand, since you are traveling from country to country or city to cities, there are many uncertainties you have to navigate, and that requires planning. Is there any situation that came to you that seems you didn't plan well and things kind of screwed up and the journey wasn't very smooth or pleasant? Can you give us some experience like that?
Most of the time is okay, but I would say that the most important thing you must plan for is your connectivity, the SIM cards. Right? Back in the day when I was doing digital nomad, it was 2015, so there was not many eSIM or virtual SIM card options, right? And it wasn't easy to deliver the SIM cards abroad or ahead of time before you travel. So I would do research as to where can I get the SIM cards at the airport, and then the moment I land, I have to get the SIM card. And therefore, so once you get a SIM card, you get Google Maps, you get Grab and Uber, right? But if you don't, and then you might be stranded at the airport if you don't have Wi-Fi. Back in those days, not every airport has Wi-Fi.
Oh wow! I never thought about this kind of challenge because I guess my experience is once I land in the airport is always
connected.
Yeah, connected. I mean free Wi-Fi, right? Or I could have virtual SIM cards. So as soon as I land, I have data roaming. There wouldn't be any problem. Is there anything that happened to you, say, that you didn't plan ahead? You didn't have any connectivity once you land, and you have to somehow find out how to navigate and even finding a hotel?
Yeah, so SIM card was exactly the issue that I was facing with. So you try to do the next best thing. You say, okay, so I can't get my SIM card at the airport. What do? I take a taxi to the city, and then hope for the best. Walk a few streets to look for 7-Eleven to get your SIM cards. And then only then you can get online. Only then, because you didn't plan well, you don't have your e-voucher to check into the hotel. You need connectivity as well. So if you plan ahead, you would have downloaded the e-voucher into your phone, right?
Oh, I see what you mean. Because you are traveling on budget, and you really have to work within the budget. And it also means you plan many things ahead.
Ahead, yeah.
Okay. It doesn't seem as appealing or how should I say romantic this kind of digital
Yeah.
nomad life is.
Well,
Because
yeah.
is there something like it's so stressful, the planning part, and also to one point after months of digital nomad life, you get tired of the meaning, say, the freshness and the excitement wears off.
Yeah, I think so. So the novelty wears off very quickly, right? The ability to have freedom and travel to a lot of countries wears off very, very quickly, and very soon you realize that there's a lot of good things around you, but you have no one to share with. So in other words, some form of loneliness, right? So therefore, it's not for everyone.
Oh, okay. So besides the planning, budgeting ahead, there also come the, emotional part,
Yeah.
which means you're traveling alone. You probably have no companion, and maybe even get homesick. Is that what we're trying to say?
Yes. Yeah. I think for some people they will get homesick, if you're constantly on the road. Yeah.
Okay. Is that a kind of part of your experience? You felt you have no companion, and you felt kind of lonely and nobody to share something with?
Yeah, that part that I mentioned, good things around you with no one to share with, that certainly happened, right? Luckily enough, I'm not a person that get homesick easily.
But is there any kind of, result if, say, people do feel lonely? Is there any kind of community or kind of event they can join and they can, resort to? Is there anything like that?
Yeah. So if you plan ahead of time, you can do a number of things. You could figure out where digital nomads actually meet up, right? There are cafes and hotels that they meet up. And also, if you're a software developer, you can also plan ahead to visit the local developer meetups or even attend conferences.
Okay. However, you are the person who actually appreciates the company a lot. You don't have to do it all alone.
Yep.
There are communities you can look out for.
Correct.
You can hang out with people and chat and share your experience with.
Yep.
Oh, okay, that's good to know. So Sam, you've been through, startup, and then the second one, corporate job, then the third one, digital nomad. There's one thing we call definition of success. That is usually for people who work in a startup. That definition of success would be my company goes IPO.
Yeah.
And for somebody who is working in a corporate job, their definition of success would be probably, climbing the corporate ladders. For example, become the VP of the company, become the director of the company. What is the kind of definition of success to you and now after you have gone through all these experience?
Right. I guess certainly have changed, and in a way kind of like reset the bar. Because for most people, like you said, right, some form of a cash payout or some form of a ladder climbing, right? And for me, it used to be that I need a very huge amount of money to retire, and that means working harder, longer, and retiring later, right? So all this experience allows now I have kind of refined that view, right? I would appreciate earlier retirement and have that will focus on a happier life and more freedom. Retire earlier. So how do you do that? I think you have to again plan ahead, right? You have to ask yourself what is the kind of monthly expenses that you will need. I used to plan for a 30-year retirement time, but now I've changed that mindset that yes, I'll still work backwards and figure out the monthly expenses, right? And I use a smaller portion, I would say, a fund, right? To invest, to gain what I call perpetual returns. Therefore, on an annual basis, I have enough payouts to pay for everything, right? That allows me to retire earlier. That allows me to be happy, and so that's what I'm focused on now.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean now. Rather than the traditional kind of definition of success, which means monetary, or I guess title, you are aiming for, happiness.
Happiness.
And for now, the happiness to you means early retirement.
Yep.
And you mentioned that it doesn't require a big money to retire, right? To retire early. There are ways you can plan it out.
Yeah, ways to plan it out. Most people think you need all the money up front. That is actually not true. Yeah.
I see what you mean. Okay, what's your best advice for these profiles, typically the one who is in a job, and also for the one who has been impacted and laid off, currently struggling to find a job? People are thinking to give it a try of this digital nomad life. What are the advice for these people?
Okay. So the first one, if you are currently in any position, any job or a new role, you have to constantly reevaluate the situation, right? In the sense that are you, stagnant in the position? All right. Is this your comfort zone already? Right. Those are red flags, right? Ask yourself how you're going to reinvent yourself. Does it mean training, trying something new, trying a new project, expanding your responsibilities, even changing your job, right? Switching industries, that could all be, possibilities. That's the first one. I think for people who are being laid off, my advice is don't jump from one pole to the other immediately. Take some time, reevaluate the landscape, the market, figure out what is more sustainable long term. Don't rush into, jumping to the next position very quickly. Yeah.
And what about for those one who is tempted to give a try of this digital nomad life?
Right. My advice is that try for 2 weeks and see what happens, right? But the truth is you need discipline. You need to be able to have some form of self-awareness that okay, you won't get homesick and you can travel alone sometimes, extended period of times. But you can always try for 2 weeks and see what happens, right? Yeah.
I see. Well, that's advice from your real experience. If you have watched this far, I hope you have seen yourself a little bit in Sam's story, the tension between wanting security and wanting growth. I hope this conversation also gives you the clarity of what's right for you and what it really takes to start over again. If you're in between jobs, it's okay not to rush. Take the time you need to evaluate, because stability doesn't come from a job. It's something you build within yourself, so that change doesn't break you, it shapes you. Sometimes uncertainty doesn't mean a setback. It's just life giving you the room to realign.